coming on. They're
So,
just
yeah, bans are done.
Okay, now we're on to the picks.
They have their plans. They know what they're going to do. Both teams probably expect each other's picks and bans. They should take less than 2 minutes just because they're prepped up. At the same time, maybe they have some secret tech. Maybe CLG, they stayed up late some nights when EU had already gone to bed and tried to get some scrims against someone else, trying to get different strategies that they can bust out.
I'm kind of interested to see that they left both. They banned out Vayne for the late game hyper carry, so they don't want to try to force a late game against CLG, which is, surprise, surprise, both CLG teams don't want to get into a late game point. However, they are leaving Nunu and Caitlyn on the table, and Caitlyn, when she gets into that late game, of course, has a very powerful phase. She's weak in the mid stages of the game, but has a very aggressive poke in the early game that can keep champions like Ezreal out and force him to use that arcane shift defensively rather than offensively. So maybe EU finally cracked the code on the Nunu Caitlyn, and they're just letting CLG NA have it, or maybe they completely forgot about it. We'll just have to see here.
At the same time, Nunu Caitlyn, it's a lane that can go really well, but if you do fall behind as Caitlyn, she does get scary to late game just because of her range, but her mid-game potential is not that high. So maybe they could go for a mid-game push, something we normally don't expect, but EU, they've gotten so much better at pressuring earlier.
We do see Shen being picked up as well as Nunu, so Hotshot potentially could be taking Shen into the top lane. Hasn't really seen Chowster playing a lot of jungle Shen, so just assuming here that we could potentially have that split push threat from CLG NA. We have Shen, of course, can be still picking up items like Ionic Spark because it's still around, not for much longer, but it's still there.
It's alive.
He could also be going for the tankier kind of Shen build, still split pushing with his Sunfire Cape. We're going to have to see, though. They did want to give him that one away almost for free, so NA might fall into that split push strategy where EU might apply a little bit more pressure, going with a support Zyra and a Maokai pick. And is that Twitch?
That is a Twitch. That is Double Lift Twitch coming out. This is a secret tech. This is the new stuff going on. We saw Team Dynamic do this earlier, but what Twitch provides, it's not that he's a long-lasting AD carry, that if he survives a team fight like Ezreal can, he will kill everybody. He is someone who, if he's alive for 2 to 3 seconds, he can win a team fight because Spray and Pray is such a good ultimate. If it hits multiple targets, you win a team fight just because your AD carry will deal so much damage so quickly. He can die, and it's okay, but that Malphite ban makes sense because he's one of the best people in the game to murder Twitch, now gone, can't shut down his attack speed. What CLG EU going to play? I'd say Aurelia would just be a good pick because Wicked's amazing at it, but it's banned out. So what's your top laner? Going to be Wicked?
Well, we're going to have to see here. There's still a Renekton possibility on the table, and we know how much Wicked likes to play Renekton. We do see Lux being hovered over right now, so that could be a Rumble actually being hovered over. I don't necessarily know if that's what they're going to be locking in. I'd kind of be surprised if they did, but we're going to have to see. EU knows best.
Well, think about this. Imagine you're a Twitch. Imagine all of a sudden you get hit by a light binding. There's an ultimate from Lux on you. All of a sudden there are rockets. You're lit on fire because Rumble Lux can just snipe you from far away. Double Lift, he may not even get to team fights to survive. Spray and Pray has amazing range, but Rumble Lux combination to tag in Ezreal ult 2, there is so much long-range AoE damage coming out of CLG EU right now.
No, I don't like picturing myself as that Twitch anymore.
No.
I really don't. But of course, Twitch, as you said, going to be very, very strong come the team fight phase. He's going to have a lot of damage potential he can put out onto the enemy team. Going with a Nunu for absolute zero, who's going to be able to zone out as well, although it's going to be a jungle Nunu at this point, so he's not going to have that same kind of pressure in lane with the Blood Boil. We do still have the Orianna now being picked for the Command Shockwave, the Lulu ultimate, and a Shen who's going to be able to pour it in, save that, save this Twitch, or just taunt in and be the target for that ball.
Shields, baby. This is all shields. Look at this. Hotshot GG, ultimate has a shield. Chauster, all right, he's got Blood Boil, not going to be the shielder, but Big Fat LP playing Orianna, going to have that shield. Lokodoka has a shield, and his ultimate will give HP to Double Lift. This is all going to be about protecting Twitch. And CLG EU, they want to snipe him before the fight even starts. It's going to be a hard fight for either side, to say the least.
It's interesting to see what EU has here. They have the Lux who could stay very far away and shoot people down, of course, with her skills as well as her ultimate. We have Ezreal, who's going to be on the outskirts of the battle, has a lot of potential to get away. Rumble and Maokai kind of going to be up in the front, being that big, beefy tank line, while Zyra, of course, can lay down the ultimate and disrupt the kind of a little bit of AoE that CLG NA is going to be throwing at them. Of course, if they land the Orianna ultimate and the absolute zero from Nunu, Zyra's ult is going to be able to disrupt that a little bit. However, they still have the Lulu ultimate to survive through it, as well as provide a little bit of AoE on top of that. If they do wind up getting down on Twitch, they could have the potential to run into that AoE or run into the Shen, who's going to wind up taunting them and getting them, locked down and everything. It's really interesting. Like, EU has a strategy that I feel like they want to stay far enough away from the fight to run away if their tank line dies, but CLG NA kind of has this we're going to get in your face kind of comp, and we're going to have to see what just works out.
Well, the way I see it is, normally people talk about how 3 people on one team can focus the AD carry. In this case, there are 9 people going to be focusing down that Twitch. Everybody wants to kill him. Everybody wants to burst him down. It's up to CLG North America to protect him, up to CLG EU to kill him.
We're going to have to see if they are able to protect the Twitch, or if CLG EU is going to wind up taking the 2-0 victory in their group. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the winner's match. Whoever wins this one is going to advance 2-0 in their group stages. Whoever loses is going to have to fall down and face Team Fear to see who does get seeded into the winner's bracket here at IPL 5. We are almost loaded into the game, guys. CLG North America against CLG EU. Let me hear you guys if you want to see a good match between these two. I'd say that's we want to see a good match. Although we still have the banned Froggen sign up right here in front row.
I mean, like maybe Lux is apparently not good on Froggen, but we've seen him before. He dominates with it. You just can't ban the guy out. But level 1, it started. Who's gonna go where? Who's got the better level 1? Looking at CLG EU, they don't have that much hard CC outside of Light Binding and Zyra's Grasping Vine, which are very effective. So it's enough to be usable. CLG, they have Hotshot who can have his taunt. Oriana's going to have Vision. And Locodoka, if he lands a Glitter Lance, that's a really strong slow at the early part of the game.
So we could potentially see CLG NA being the little bit more aggressive ones in this early level 1 stage, which still talking about 2 CLG teams, even though it's been months since they've changed up their playstyle, still seems really, really weird to me. We do have Double Lift kind of going to this top rush. Might be indicative of a lane swap as Lulu's up here as well, or it could just be a defense against the jungle invade Frog, and he's going to put the binding down. Barely misses Double Lift there. Just really, really quick reaction time to get out of that one. Has to go invisible to get away from EU, but now EU on the offensive, going for the invade against CLG NA.
They're going to keep chasing. They will be spotted from that brush. Are they going to go offensive on this?
Double Lift kind of baiting them in there. There is a Harpoon going down from Wicked. He realizes the rest of NA is there. Dodges the skill shots from Zyra, but they're going to get hit there by Lux. Locodoco dropping extremely low. Has to flash away from this one. Snoopy deciding to go in. Wants to get that first blood down onto Locodoco. Oriana ball goes through. Ezreal going to wind up picking up the first blood on that one as Locodoca's Lulu does fall. Now going on the Chalicer. Has to burn the flash away. Big Fat LP trying to get a little bit of damage to turn them away. But Wicked's going to get a kill on Chalicer. And oh, Frog is going to snipe down Big Fat LP before they can get the kill on Wicked. 3-0 for CLG EU.
To say the least, CLG EU, they are in such a dominant position right now. They've got the kills. They control the fight. They got into the nerves of CLG North America. They have the Shen taunt. They have a lot of damage, but they just got so scared of committing, they didn't go for the fight. They just got hunted down and did not respond to the aggression. So as it stands, I mean, EU, they're looking strong, to say the least. They can do so much right now. Their lanes are ahead. A kill onto Rumble, a kill onto Lux, a kill onto Ezreal. It's all spread out nice and evenly. Looking at their items, Amplifying Tome, Doran's Ring, and Doran's Blade. They're coming into lanes so strong.
We see pings going down as they did drop a ward in that brush during that level 1 fight, and they realize that Nunu is going to be starting at his own red buff. There's a ward down from CLG NA to see if there's any funny business going down by their own blue buff, but it seems that that's going to be left alone by CLG EU for now. So Chalister going to be taking down that red buff, not even level 2 yet. I might be hitting that off that little lizard there. I think Lulu might have taken away a little bit of experience from that, but Froggen already level 2 in this mid lane here against Big Fat LP's Oriana. Gonna have to see how that pans out. And the CLG NA lane swap was sniffed out from that level 1 engagement. So we have the ADs and supports in top lane, and the top laners down in bottom lane.
And right now, Rumble with the early advantage going to be able to apply a lot of pressure. Doesn't have the ignite for 90 seconds, but that won't be that big a deal. He can still be aggressive. He can still punish Hotshot GG for trying to get any CS. That early Amplifying Tome and the early HP and level advantage is going to be so much.
Look at Snoopy here coming in just 2 seconds too late as Chalister was able to secure himself that blue buff, gaining a level 3 off of that one. So Snoopy is going to back off from there. Wanted to try to get in there and get it before Nunu did, but he went straight through there. Didn't even take his wolves before after that red buff, making sure he's able to secure blue buff for his team. We do see Big Fat LP now just continuing to push back and forth with Froggen. Froggen's side of the map getting a little bit more aggressive on the Big Fat LP, potentially pushing into the tower. Top lane, we just had the ADs and supports trading back and forth. See his advantage going a little bit in favor of Twitch, surprisingly, as he was a bit later. Was actually later to the party, but he did have to go back after that level 1 fight and join up at about the same time Ezreal did. So Chalister kind of doting around the mid lane here, giving Oriana some breathing room against Lux. Other than that, just nothing really much going on after those early invades.
Lots of aggression top lane. Double actually using his stealth, trying to get out of any danger. That's the advantage they're going to have. He can try and use stealth. The ignite will be counteracted by the cleanse that Double Lift has not used, so they don't have to worry about that. At the same time, there's a lot of damage coming out of Ezreal right now. 1 good Grasping Vines, 1 good CC, and they might blow the cleanse, possibly kill him through his own stealth.
It's going to be something that we have to keep an eye on here, as we did see Chalister taking away the enemy Big Wolves. He's going to continue to invade on Snoopy's jungle, but Snoopy being a patient tree in the bush over there, just waiting for Oriana to step forward. She's going to pop the dissonance, they'll get away from that one. So Snoopy not going to be able to find a gank in mid lane, decides to return to his own jungle.
Has her flash up, could not accomplish a whole lot, might have just been trying to blow it so you get the gank later. Still, though, it's an okay position to be in.
I think they might just want to be shoving that lane a little bit more on the side of NA, so Lux might have the potential to roam a bit later on. I mean, we did see Chowster coming in as Nunu trying to push Lux away, so Oriana can push it back out, and then Snoopy coming in doing the same exact thing.
And the way Lux ganks work, it's not going to be her roaming to the lane and necessarily landing a skill shot. It's just going to be her ultimate from the river, for the most part. She can show up in lane, she can definitely get kills that way, but what Froggen likes to do is just kill you from far away.
Chowster actually putting a Blood Boil down on top of the Whimsy there from Lulu, going aggressive down on the Yellow P. Double taking a bit of damage because of this, though. Winds up popping down there. Oh, actually gonna arcane shift over the wall, and winds up picking up a kill on Twitch there. Aggression gone wrong, Studio.
He uses the flash, arcane shift lands at the same time, still in range to take the damage. That gank now brings CLG EU to a 2.2k lead. This is just getting scary, as across the lanes, they're just not in a good position. Big Fat LP is pulling Froggen around a bit, but Lux doesn't get that strong until she hits level 6, and you don't really expect her to beat Oriana. That shield a bit too strong. It's actually, is he trying to steal blue right with that?
Don't exactly know. It looks like he might be, but can't really tell right now. So we do have Lux kind of doting around the river over there. Oriana just kind of contest that one. Looks like that Chowster's being able to secure that, though, as he is still sticking around by his Wraith Cam. So a little bit of counter jungling going on by the Lux there in the mid lane, a little bit of Snoopy roaming around the map, but he's mostly in his own side of the jungle. Wants to get himself in a good space, potentially going to get those boots of mobility and an Oracle's Elixir, start roaming around the map. And since EU has such a huge advantage already, one way to secure that is to completely leave NA in the dark.
The early Oracle, it'll shut them down entirely. Like right now, Hotshot GG going up against Wicked, he's behind in CS. You kind of expect this just because Rumble has such a strong early game, especially with the advantage, so it makes sense. Chaucer right now, he's not necessarily going for kills, he's just making sure the lanes survive. Any aggressive ganks, any aggressive tower dives can be punished, but if they go forward, we already see what happens. Double of dying in a 3v2 situation, just taking too much damage despite the fact that he blew Flash and Cleanse to get out of there.
Yeah, so we do have Yellow Pete now, basically even on CS and Twitch, but he has 2 kills and 2 assists.
He's got a phage, man.
The nothing that Twitch has. Like you said, there's a phage already, there's a Doran play. He's got a substantial lead over Double Lift Twitch in that lane, and I don't know if you could chalk that one up to mechanics alone, but they had a really, really great start, and they're just continuing to snowball this one. Taking a look at the rest of the lanes, even in the mid lane, 53 CS compared to 45 now from Oriana. In that bottom lane still, we have Shen, a little bit of a creep score disadvantage, 51 compared to 43. Shen actually not even going back yet to spend any money. He's just getting constantly pushed to his tower, though.
Well, Wicked finally going back himself, trying to really just be aggressive. How much gold does he have? Can probably buy his Haunting guys. Yeah, about able to afford it. They're looking just for constant aggression. They would just want to be ahead in lane. They don't have to force big fights. They don't have to do that much. They just have to go back at the right times, get an item advantage, come back, and kick some butt. Top lane, Double Lift can't do that much to Yellow Pete just because of how Twitch works. You need a lot of auto attacks. You need to land the Venom cast before you can use Expunge for that really high damage, but because you can't stay near Yellow Pete without dying at this point, he's just not going to do anything. He's actually using cast to farm from range. That's not a good position to be in.
And this is very interesting. As you mentioned before, CLG EU doesn't want to commit to any real fights right now. They want to get advantages in the lane. They want to make CLG NA make the first move. If NA makes a move to be aggressive and EU is in a commanding position where they are ahead in their lanes and therefore can be ahead in a team fight. And even we saw already the positioning from players like Yellow P is just spot on with that arcane shift over the wall in order to get the kill on Double Lift. If they can capitalize on things like this, NA is literally going to run themselves into our own trap, and EU is just going to snowball it away from there.
Phage proc lands on a Double Lift. Actually, Chaucer going up top lane for a gank. They want to make something happen. This could be a chance for either side to really do a lot of damage.
Well, there's a ward in the brush, and he just walks straight through the lane, so I don't know how much he's going to actually do. Steps on the seed there, so they're not going to be able to get the plant coming out for this 30% slow over there. We do have Chowster in the meantime. Still sticking around, though. Loco Doco as well, doting around this brush, but don't really think you're going to be doing anything. This has, however, relieved a little bit of pressure on Double Lift. He's able to snipe himself a little bit of CS to stay even with Ezreal and push the lane back.
Oh, actually, ult comes out from Yellow Pete. Does miss Double Lift. Double Lift trying to go invisible is revealed by the seed, I believe. Now just a lot of damage coming out before the stealth could proc. And that's a lot of DPS prep. Or Double Lift having to retreat just from one barrage of auto attacks. If he gets hit by anything, he can die so quickly. And that's what's scary. Just Mystic Shot into the vines, into auto attacks, murder Twitch. He is so squishy early on in the game.
Bot lane, we saw Snoopy as Maokai trying to go around that bottom lane, but deciding against it as he decides to go back into his own jungle, now hovering over by his own red buff. Going to be picking that one up. Level 5 has decided to go for the Heart of Gold, not going for that fast mobility boots or that fast Oracle's Elixir. Guessing that they have enough pressure in the lanes, don't have to really worry about NA doing anything to roam around right now. They've shut down Twitch, so he's not going to be a problem. Chowster on Nunu is not going to be dealing the most damage. They really just have to worry about GG and Shen, and Shen's not really going to be putting out any damage soon, but he still has that Stand United ultimate available to try to turn a gank around.
It's scary because if any lane gets too far ahead, it's a dominant character. Someone like Ezreal, if you see him get a bunch of kills early, it's not that rare to see an Afro move, or even Yellow Pea completely kill everybody ever. At the same time, it applies to Lux, it applies to Wicked playing Rumble. Across the map, if anybody gets ahead for EU, they're characters that can carry the game, or at least the mid part of the game for quite a while.
Well, we just saw Chowster pop an absolute zero to push the wave in the middle lane, so potentially going to be setting something up for CLG NA, or maybe just giving GG a little bit of breathing room to wind up going back, and he is actually going to recall here, potentially going to pick up more pieces so that Athene's on Holy Grail.
I love that, like, as he's trying to get some pressure relief for that mid lane, even Froggen just counter dribbling the entire time, throws a binding, doesn't get the blue race, but he's close to it. And just the pressure, it's not ganks that are coming out, but EU, they've gotten a bit more CS, they're getting a little bit more of a gold lead. It's very small, but they're building up slowly and steadily, and they might be looking for just a big fight once they bought the right items.
Looks like double lift evading, narrow escape from death there as he dodges Zyra Roots. 2 plants coming up on top of some shots from Yellow Pete would have absolutely melted him down. So double is still only level 6 compared to the fact that Yellow Pete is level 7 and Crepo has actually hit level 6. Chowster still continuing to sit up here in this top lane, but every single time he blood boils Twitch, he gives away the fact that he's just right over there.
I don't think they even care if they know he's there. They just want to keep him safe. So far, EU has not made a move for that Dragon Pit, even when they see that Chaucer is top lane. I'm not sure what they're worried about. They may just not want to force a team fight right now. May have just gone to the CLG EU routes of playing passively and playing the farm game because, well, it's in their favor right now. They can lane as long as they want to, and it should be fine.
When you have an almost 20 CS advantage in the mid lane and your bottom lane, which is technically your top lane now, you're going to want to just sit back and farm and increase that lead exponentially before you get into a fight. If you go back with more gold and buy items and then go back to lane and force NA into a fight where they're under item, under leveled, and under farm, well, they're going to be in a really, really bad spot. Saving grace is even the double list, was a little bit behind on experience. Chowster continuing to come into that lane, just continuing to show his presence, make Yellow Pete play a little more passive and give him that blood boil, just means the fact that Twitch has been able to kind of stay on even par with Ezreal CS, although those 2 kills and assists have just outclassed him in items.
They're not giving Double a chance to breathe, taken down to about 2/3 HP. Constant pressure coming out. They're not going to let him get any free farm, and that's why Chaucer has to camp up there. And it's really important that they keep his pressure up there because that means Wicked can bully around Hotshot. That means mid lane, Froggen's going to try and land some skill shots, going to try and push heavily against Big Fight actually. It's really hard to pressure Orianna as Lux, as I said earlier. He does have the Chalice. He's going to have a lot of mana regeneration, not really going to be possible to DPS him down. But if he can't CS underneath his own turret, pressure there, or force him to lose gold overall instead of just trying to get killed and get an advantage that way.
We do have in the mid lane, Lux deciding to go back, pick up her Athene's on Holy Grail due to that CS advantage and due to that kill advantage over Orianna before she can wind up securing her own. So now Lux with a bit of a commanding lead in that mid lane matchup now. 15 CS ahead as well as the completed item, so she might be able to bring a little bit more pain onto Orianna. Maokai actually kind of creeping around the side over here. He is going to walk over a ward though in that side brush, so I don't think he's going to be trying to sneak anything fancy here. Although he is going to be going into CLG NA's blue area, potentially putting a ward down, maybe getting a timer on that, and that could be the next point where EU tries to close their clutches on NA. But now Snube actually kind of floating around bottom lane. They might wind up diving Hotshot. Well, there goes the Rumble. Ultimate Equalizer goes down. Twisted advance forward. Hotshot's taking a lot of damage. This tower's extremely low as well. Hotshot's able to taunt and flash out of there. Snoop is going to give chase, though. Wicked will probably want to take down that tower. Snoop is going to turn around as well. And EU just going to be content with that to take down the tower as soon as it's... Oh, the minion's going to do it.
And Wicked just saying, hey, I don't even need to be here to kill this turret. And the truth is, he didn't. At the same time, looks like CLG NA, they're going for the blue buff. They saw Snoop at bot lane. Hotshot can teleport in if they go for this big fight, so this might be their chance to shine. A 5v4 would be in their favor.
Well, we have a Zyra Roots going off on the Big Fat LP, so that plan's going to slow them down. They know exactly where they are now. Chaucer actually taking a shot and a phage prod from Ezreal for his trebles there. Blue buff is being contested heavily by NA. All 4 members here, 5 members of CLG EU are now floating around us. So if Shen's going to come in, he's going to have to do it pretty soon. There's the Lux laser. Actually, I don't know if that took it away from Nunu to wind up taking it away with that consume. Orianna ultimate goes backwards for the command shockwave, so they're able to get out of there. Snoop actually coming in, twisted advance onto Nunu. They are going to wind up picking that one up. Lux gets the blue buff regardless of the fact now. Hotshot unfortunately not able to get over that wall there, and CLG EU winds up taking 2 kills and their blue buff back, and NA left kind of just shaking their heads.
And now EU, they're going to press the advantage. They have a 6-0 lead. They're just stomping right now. They're ahead 4,000 gold. Mid-turret will not survive this push. As it stands, North America just They don't have anything. That was their big time to fight, and even though Wicked didn't have his ultimate up, the snipe from Frog and the snipe from YellowP, those ultimates combined did so much damage.
Not to mention the fact that everybody was all lined up for that Frog and ultimate, as well as it stole away the blue buff, so just dealing massive amounts of damage onto the entirety of CLG NA. Now they're giving up Dragon Control because of this as well. Already at about a 5k, soon to be almost 6k, 6,500 gold advantage. 6 kills to 0, 2 towers in favor of CLG EU. And ever since that level 1 team fight, they've just been in absolute control of this game.
What do they do now? They have a team that's really dependent on someone being far ahead, that someone's going to be double lift. At the same time, all right, maybe someone like Orianna can really hold on. That can be the case, but no one's ahead right now. Only people are only equal, and that's not going to be enough to deal with the heavy AoE, long-ranged AoE, and bursts coming out from CLG EU. How do you deal with Rumble ultimate and Lux ultimate and Ezreal at the same time? Two of those, oh!
Ooh, actually the Rumble ultimate and the Lux ultimate kind of making X marks the spot right there, but I actually didn't even see if the Lux was able to steal away that blue buff. I'm pretty sure
Lux did not get it now.
All right, I'm pretty sure he's able to actually secure that. That's our own blue buff that's still floating around our head over there. So we are going to see Big Fat LP and Chaucer continue to push down into this mid lane, trying to get Froggen away from this, but Froggen has that blue buff. He's just going to sit back, throw his spells back. Hotshot was actually the one that had to take that one away because of the Lux laser.
Nice smite reaction there. Like, they still have the reaction time. They have their mechanical skill, but the items are just going to be such a big problem. And of course, EU, they have low cooldowns. The equalizer from Rumble, it's a 90-second cooldown, still decent, it's still an ultimate, but it's relatively short compared to Stand United, compared to the ultimate from Uno at this point in the game, since he's not even level 11 yet. Looking at Froggen though, he's got a 36-second cooldown on his ultimate. He can spam that out when he wants to, and that's just going to get shorter as he hits level 16.
Not to mention they have the True Shot Barrage from Ezreal that he can spam out and still have it relatively quick. So we do have an Oracle's Elixir now being acquired by Chauster. He's going to try to give his team a little bit of breathing room through denying the forward vision of CLG EU. We see him clearing out that ward in the Tri-Brush top lane, potentially going to clear out that brush in the mid lane. And if CLG EU doesn't have the vision, they're going to be maybe, even though they're that far ahead of them in items build and everything, looking at the CS now, GG's been able to catch up in the mid lane. Hotshot's still about 35 CS behind Wicked in that bottom/top lane. Double has been able to keep up on the CS and everything, so they know that their opponents have the skills and are kind of keeping up with them. They just don't have the items yet. They denied that vision, though. EU is not going to want to be as aggressive as they have been on the other side of the map.
If they can get one good catch, if they catch Froggen, Wicked, and YellowP, maybe just 2 of the 3, they can get some quick kills. Lux is not going to be tanky. Wicked is going to be relatively tanky, but he did go for a Woda instead of what we normally see, which is haunting guys into Abyssal Scepters. So he's not going to take that much damage. He's going to have a lot of sustain. So if they don't kill him quickly, he will gain a lot of HP back. But if they get some good bursts on, they're not out of this yet. They're just in a dangerous position. NA
trying to make their move. Now they cleared out some of those wards in top lane. Hotshot kind of doing around here in that brush. Now we have Chauster moving up through the river as well. Going to check to see if there are any wards. Hotshot being very patient with this one. Knows there's a Zyra seed there. Waiting for Chauster to go forward first to check the brush for a ward. Winds up seeing there is a ward there, so they're going to clear this one out. And YellowP and Crabble haven't been afraid of Chauster using the Zyra roots there, but they have been afraid of Hotshot. So the ping's going down immediately. NA wants to try to force this or at least take the tower. Hotshot reveals himself. 4 members of NA potentially just going to try to push this down.
And what's the reaction going to be from EU? They have a lot of wave clear.
Froggen
is nearby. Oh, Flash! Are they going to go for this fight?
Looks like Shen actually going to go under the tower. Zyra's go up. He walks back into it, gets knocked up. That's a lot of damage. Shen's taken. Lulu ultimate goes off, but Wild Growth is not enough. YellowP's going to wind up taking down Shen.
Oh,
now
Loco Doco.
Chasing after Loco Doco. Has to flash to binding. Dodges the Zyra roots. He's got some moves there. Puts the shield on himself. Double lift trying to get the poison cast down to get a little bit of extra slow. A little bit extra damage. Is he going to live? Lux says no. Going to snipe him down with the shot there. So double lift now left in a 2v3 situation as Chauster shows back up, but CLG EU completely turned that around on NA once again.
I mean, Hotshot flashes and taunts, just gets hit in the face by a light binding. Froggen uses his ultimate. YellowP actually misses his own, but still end up pegging. Actually, Chaucer being caught out. Chaucer, you gotta run!
And that's still the 3 members of CLGU that have been there the entire time. Wicked's been clearing out the enemy jungle. Snoopy's all of a sudden become the new mid laner for CLGU.
Big Fat LP, you gotta run. You got your flash up? Can you get out of this?
Flash forward, but there comes a Shen. Ultimate Stand United goes down. There's the command shockwave. They might actually have them. Snoopy's in tower range. He could potentially go down. Wicked will take Orianna down, but the tower damage will wind up reprising a kill onto Snoopy. Hotshot now might be able to chase after Wicked, but Wicked with a 2-level advantage in the item advantage. Probably just going to be able to get away, but Froggen barely missing a light binding going down on the double lift there. He escapes by the skin of his teeth, and EU is just going to be content taking this top tower now.
They have a kill. They at least are on the board. They're not going to be pure zeros if the game does end right now. but that one kill was on the like one of two people who did not matter if they died. They did get the oracles from Snoopet, but he's 0-1-5, no killing sprees in their favor. And of course, Snoopet, he's okay with flying a second oracles. He has the gold to spare. He can do that when he wants to. So North America, they need to amp up their game. They need to get some more objectives done. They need to get some good catches, like that catch with the dive onto Big Fat LP. That's something that they can do. That's something they can do really well. But I don't think he's going to take that many risks. Or they can just be aggressive now that Hotshot GG doesn't have his ultimate up.
Well, you talk about saying that CLG NA needs to go for objectives, needs to get something under the belt. CLG EU recognizes this, as Snoopet on their way back want to pick up an Aegis to the Legion, so they're going to be starting to prep themselves for their team fight kind of situations. We have an Infinity Edge already acquired by Yellow Pete's Ezreal, going straight IE after the Phage there. We have Athene's on a Holy Grail and the needlessly large rod onto Froggen's Lux, not even stopping to get boots level 2. Doesn't really need them at this point. And Wicked being super farmed as he is, you mentioned before, Will the Ancients, Haunting Guides, and needlessly large rod acquired. They're looking scary.
He's going to deal so much damage just with the Equalizer, and then Flame Spitter hurts so much. I mean, right now, they need to get to the back line. They need to get to Wicked before he can get his Equalizer down. They need to get to Froggen before they've been hit by light bindings. They can kill them quickly, but getting into that position, getting close to them is going to be the hard part. They need to either force out some aggression, which they could do, pushing a turret and trying to bait them out of it. But if they go for the dives, oh, blue buff goes to Froggen. Nice steal there.
That is pinpoint accuracy from Froggen on his ultimates. I believe he's only missed one buff this entire game, or one kill this entire game with that ultimate. So, I mean, taking a look, run down the items now. Shen actually going back and picking up his own Aegis to the Legion, so they have that equalizing the team fights for now. Athene's and Holy Grail have been completed on Big Fat LP's Orianna, and an Infinity Edge has actually been acquired on Twitch. But while CLG NA is going back and buying these items a little bit later than EU, they're giving up map presence. They're giving up this dragon objective you guys see being taken on the screen right now. They're giving up a little bit of forward vision and giving up actually not even forward vision, but vision in their own side of the map to try to get EU out of there. Jouster having to run around. Actually don't know if he still has an Oracle's Elixir on him, but he does still have an Oracle's Elixir. So it's still doing his best to clear out wards and try to generate some sort of advantage, but we see True Shot Barrage, we see Lux Laser going down. They just are not able to push any towers whatsoever.
They can't get those objectives. They can't force anything because EU has such a good defense against it. Yellow Pete used his ultimate there to stop the push from CLG, killed everything except one range minion in the back. Push ended. Wicked can always use the Equalizer to stop a creep wave. Froggen has his own ultimate. They just have so many different ways to stop these pushes. And CLG, they can't sustain a push. They can't siege up because if they get a good initiation, Snoopet hits the right target, Wicked gets a good ultimate off, it's an even worse situation. They need to be quick, they need to be fast, but I mean, CLG is just not letting it happen. They're in such a good position. They have so many wards across the map. And how do you catch an Ezreal? How do you catch even a Rumble who's going to have that scrap shield to give him move speed? Actually just diving underneath the turret, pressuring Hotshot. There's just nothing you can do.
That's what happens when your team is up about 8,000 gold in this game right now. 9 kills to 1 and 3 towers. You're talking about how do you lock down on Ezreal? How do you lock down someone that's going to be getting out of there? Well, you have to chain yourself together as a team. Well, they're actually going in right now. Taunt goes down on the Wiki. He's going to probably equalize it there. Double can take a lot of damage. Hotshot's going to use the ultimate there. Don't know if he had to do that one, but regardless, Twitch is going to stay alive, and they are going to take down Rumble.
Do you know how scary that was? They used Spray and Pray and the ultimate from Shen to stand united. That's a long cooldown. Now CLG used pressuring down mid lane. They don't care if Froggen died. They can just keep pressuring. Actually, Hotshot taking a lot of damage from Froggen over that wall, and it's frankly, it's okay to lose Wicked just because those long cooldown ultimates got used.
Yeah, so they do take that mid tower down, pressuring into the base of CLG NA. Jouster, in the meantime, gets split pushing down the bottom lane with Nunu, trying to generate some sort of advantage, or at least get CLG EU to maybe back off and fall down onto him. They're not taking the bait, though. They're pressuring this inner tower, realizing that, hey, Shen ultimate is down. Hey, Spray and Pray got used not that long ago. Now's our time to take some pot shots at this turret, take it down a notch, and if CLG NA engages, we have our cooldowns up. We have a little bit of an advantage over them.
Big Fat LP's got to land a shockwave if they do go aggressive. That's something that you can't have trouble with. Double lift! Oh my god, you're taken so low. He's got to retreat. Can CLG North America hold this? The plans will tank some turret shots.
Froggen the Exterminator almost completely getting rid of Twitch's HP bar there. There's the Zyra ultimate going down the Big Fat LP. He's going to get knocked up even despite the flash. Trying to get out of this one. Lulu's Wild Growth is going to go up, but there's a twisted advantage from Snoopet. Looks like Yellow Pete's going to wind up picking up that kill, in CLG EU now on with a bloodlust, as I guess is the theme of this IPL 5 here, going down onto this inhibitor of CLG NA. They're trying to frantically scramble around to defend it, but they're just poking away at it. They're going to take the inhibitor, they're going to fall back, and they have that advantage now.
I mean, that Bald Eagle is shedding tears right now. CLG EU, they're going to roam top lane. They can take Baron whenever they want just because that inhibitor is down. And North America does not have the items. They just don't have enough to fight right now. They have to get into the perfect fight. Anything else, anything short of amazing is not going to be enough.
Well, here comes Wicked, popping the equalizer down on the double lift and hotshot. Ooh, actually, that's the first Lux laser I've seen Froggen miss the entire game. It goes right between Shen and Twitch. That would have been probably a kill down on Twitch if it wound up landing. They do take this second top tower down, though, and CLG EU just complete control of the map. Look at just the mini-map here. Look how much blue is on the map, whether it be wards, whether it be minions, whether it be enemy champions from CLG NA. And then look at the amount of red. There's no vision whatsoever left on the map besides one ward over the wall of their own base. Even that bottom lane that Chowster was split pushing off now has a wave that is completely grouping up. EU had to go back and heal off of this one, and this may be CLG NA's only chance to at least establish some presence. I don't know if they can do this Baron.
They have to. This is their last chance. They're not nearby. Ezreal's going to spot this out and help them out a little bit, take it down to about 5,000 HP. They need this Baron.
They do indeed need it, so they are going to be trying to get this out as quick as possible. They have the smite, they have the consume. It's very low. They are going to want it taken down Baron Nashor. Lux Laser coming in at just a second too late there, so they do secure the Baron buff, so that at least gives them a little bit of a breathing room against EU, but that doesn't mean that EU just can't decide to die them whatsoever. 10 kills advantage to 2. The gold count now creeping up to the 9,000 advantage. EU is looking super strong, and Baron buff might not be enough to deter them.
Well, it doesn't even matter if EU doesn't die. They can go ahead and wait. They can sit in their base for 3 minutes, lose outer turrets, and North America would still be behind a significant amount of gold. At this point, I mean, they're in their base trying to fight off super minions. EU can do what they want. They're going to go aggressive. They're going to push down that bottom turret. But the truth is, if they did nothing but CS and take jungle, they'd be fine.
We have Deathcap coming out from Rumble, Deathcap coming out from Lux. That person would be very, very happy about that. The Lux laser over the wall.
Is it going to be enough?
Is he going to get Loco?
Oh, he gets him!
The Rumble ultimate taken away, takes down Lulu. There's a command shockwave going through, though. The taunt from Hotshot. This could be really good for CLG NA. Hotshot's hitting down very low, though. Zyra ultimate disrupts absolutely everybody. Froggen is going to wind up taking down Shen. They're double lift now on the brunt of most of the damage. Gets the shield from Orianna. True Shot Barrage not going to be enough. Just barely skins past him. And he's actually going to be able to net 1 kill on Wicked, though. However, the rest of CLGU is still up and pushing. It's basically a 2-for-1 trade. They are going to back up, though. Froggen and Yellow Pete, Krepo all just getting down very low.
They hold the turret. That was the fight they needed. The taunt onto so many people. Spray and pray was hitting everybody. All right, Froggen's still pressuring, but that was the fight they needed. They're alive. They know they can still do this. It was still a 2-for-1 exchange, but how close to dead was Snoop? How close to dead was Yellow Pete? Everybody coming just to the brink of death and barely surviving. If they can do that, if they can keep holding, they are not out of the game yet. Unfortunately, that inhibitor is going to be up soon. If they fight it, that might just be their end.
Had they had the Lulu ultimate to combine with Shen, they would have had that little bit of extra time for CC. They would have had the extra slow, and they would have had a better engagement, enough to take down all those very low HP champions. So this is a power we were talking about in the bans and picks phase that CLG NA can bring to the table. Hotshot going for an Ionic Spike now. He might want to go for split pushes, which could be the downfall of NA. If they wind up split pushing away and Hotshot's not there for the fight or the taunt at the right time, if they're able to maybe kill his target down before he can teleport back to it, that could just be lights out right there.
Well, the problem is they can send Wicked. Wicked can 1v1 Hotshot, no problem right now. So if Hotshot split pushes, they will just 1v1 him, kill him or force him to ultimate, and it will not accomplish anything. And the problem is, you're right, they took out Lulu before the fight, but they used Equalizer on that. They used Lux's ultimate on that. And frankly, those are 2 big ultimates. With those up, they would have won the fight.
NA being caught with their pants down a little bit there. Half of them are out of the base, half of them are in the base. They're going to take that inhibitor turret down and take the bottom inhibitor relatively for free. So they go dragon, turret, inhibitor, and just walk away like they're just farming up minions.
Has mid inhibitor respawned? No, it looks like it should be up soon, though. I mean, Shen's split pushing top lane right now, but CLG EU, they're just going to sit there. They're just going to pressure. They know if they force the ultimate, they can still win the fight. Whatever happens here, they're confident. They're up 10,000 gold. Are they going to roam towards Hotshot? What's their plan now? Just push top lane in?
Don't really know what their plan is here. They are going to back off, though, realizing that the bottom and middle lanes are down. And as we talked about before, even though that middle inhibitor is going to respawn soon, it's going to be very, very vulnerable when it comes up. No tower whatsoever. That could be just the focal point from EU. They are deciding to rotate towards that top lane, though. And we're going to have to see if they just decide to push that one all the way through and then get the middle inhibitor on the respawn, kind of doing that little duality between top and mid lane, trying to stretch out CLG NA and not get them all together for that big engage they need.
And that is a good play right there, because why waste time? They could wait for the middle inhibitor to respawn. They could try and pressure next to turrets, but that top inhibitor is going to be an easy target. 2 inhibitors down, that's almost impossible to hold almost at any point in the game. Twitch is okay at it because you can always use spray and pray, but that's his ultimate being used, and frankly, they need that for the fights. Mid inhibitor has respawn. CLGU, they might look there, they might look top. They can really look wherever they want to. And it's up to North America to get the catch, to get the taunts.
If North America does get the catch and they're under tower, it could be the fight that they need to turn this one around and be back in the game against CLG EU. Down 9 kills, down about 10,000 gold, 8 towers to none. They haven't even established a forward presence in this game whatsoever. From level 1 on, it's been the CLG EU show, but NA putting that stand up at that bottom tower in that one team fight. If they can do the same exact thing here, they might be able to get themselves back into this one. And as you said, it's up to Hotshot to get the taunt. It's up for a Big Fat LP to get that Orianna command shockwave down. It's up for them to not take too much damage from the equalizer or the Lux laser, or at least bait them out before they go for the engage. And are they going to be able to do it? Looks like they're going down to Hotshot here, get some skill shots down. The Orianna shield's going to absorb a decent chunk of damage, but problem with the death cap and the Athenes and the Holy Grails is dealing so much damage.
Here's Gills coming out. They're looking for something.
Yellow Pete was taking the tower. Zyra ultimate goes over the wall. That's another big thing that NA wants to try to bait out from EU, because now they can go in and not have to worry about any disengage from CLG EU. They could still have the equalizer, but an absolute zero can get fully channeled down, and that could just be enough to melt down EU as is. And here goes Hotshot going in. Orianna ball is in the middle of everybody. One tagging on to Stupe and Wicked. There's the absolute zero. Looks like Hotshot GD is going to fall, but Maokai's been eliminated by Double Lift Twitch. Now go down to Frog and has to flash away. Gets a light binding down on the 2 members, but not on the Double Lift. Jason after double kill now acquired by Twitch. Zyra Root's going to stop him in place. Is he going to be able to get a triple kill? No. NA going to back off, and that is what they wanted to have happen.
They keep holding. That was perfect. North America, if you can keep that up, you can still stay in this game. You're still alive. They're going to hold their Nexus turrets. They're actually going to keep pushing top inhibitor from CLG EU, but they're so low. And frankly, Double Up is doing what he needs to do. He's surviving the fight. He's getting 7 or 8 auto attacks with spray and pray up. Look at all of EU. They were taken so low, the exception of Crepo, who actually I think just healed from his base. He was taken low too. He deals so much ridiculous damage that if he's not focused instantly, the Lux ultimate did not hit him. If that did, maybe it would be a different story, but because it didn't, he was able to get his auto attacks off, able to lifesteal, get those up.
And now we see
the edge crits, and now he's Phantom Dancer. He's scary. He might be able to carry the team on his own. Well, with the shields backing him up too, but he might be what CLG North America needs. Double Up, this is up to you.
I mean, we're taking a look at the side from CLGU. We see Crepo now acquiring a Zanya's Hourglass on support Zyra and Sorcerer Shoes. So Zyra's going to hurt in these fights. If that Zyra ultimate misses like it did in that fight, that could be devastating, because that's a decent chunk of damage coming out from CLG EU. Randu and Zoman going to be acquired by Snoop in a little bit. He has the Warden's Mail already. Looking at a Void Staff coming out from Froggen next, and potentially a Guardian Angel from Wicked. On the flip side from NA, as you mentioned before, Infinity Edge, Last Whisper, Phantom Dancer onto Twitch. That's what they need. They want him to be the super hyper carry Twitch, and he's gotten to that point, but now the team needs to coordinate with him. Hotshot GG went for that Ionic Spark, potentially going to be going for a Guardian Angel or something. He only has a Null Magic Mantle and a Heart of Gold. If he gets Randu and Zoman or Sunfire Cape, something to stay alive just a little bit longer, unlike your Monitor, which just fell down. That was very weird. But if he's able to stay alive just a little bit longer in these fights, it could be that second taunt with a little bit of extra tank they need to turn the fight around. Zeke's Herald on Lulu is going to help out as well for all those auto attacks that they wind up having. And I mean, if NA can hold another fight like that, what is EU going to do to try to break through that?
I mean, it was an 8,000 gold difference before. This Baron's going to go to EU, and I don't think North America can do anything to stop it. They're not even close by. So they're going to have a 9,000 gold advantage. They're going to have Baron buff. But at the same time, that gold advantage was more or less the same a few minutes ago, and North America held well.
We see a Lux Laser going over the wall. Did he snipe away the red buff? Looks like he sniped away the red buff. So that is another buff stolen away by Froggen and his pinpoint sniper accuracy with that ultimate.
That's super important, because that red buff is going to apply to everybody that was hit by spray and pray. That's a big deal that they do not have it on Double Up. So it's going to be a really hard push for them to hold, but if they can, they've done it before. This is their chance to shine. This is the chance for CLG to show their true strength to either side, really. Well,
now the Baron buff is on the opposite foot as it was last time. CLG EU now has them. That could be the little oomph that they need in order to take down NA. We're going to have to see how they chain together the ultimates, how they chain together that crowd control, and what skills get wasted before they need to be. Hotshot is going to take another light bind into the face, gets the Orianna shield on him, still taking a decent chunk of damage though. That ball just acting out there like a sentry. They do not want to cross that point. They do not want to get command shockwave and have the taunt go off after that. Yes, they have the Zyra ultimate to disengage, but if Zyra gets locked down, she's not going to be able to offer that. She has to pop her Zanyas. She's not going to be able to offer any of that crowd control that EU has against NA.
The scary thing here is that Double Up can die. He can be very easily taken out of the fight. They can still land the equalizer. They can still land the final ultimate, the final spark from Lux, and it will devastate. It will be such an easy kill.
Tower already at half HP. CLG EU content just to poke on this one. Maokai ultimate goes down, just daring them to come in here. There's the command shockwave from Oriana, but the equalizer goes across Big Fat LP and Loco Dogo. True Shot Barrage almost snipes down GG. That was a very dangerous spot for CLG NA to be in. Laser will feel the deal though, and that is a dead Oriana. Inhibitor's going to go down. They no longer have the command shockwave. Their combo's a little bit disoriented here, and can CLG NA hold on? All their inhibitors are down. Hotshot decides to go in here. He's going to get absolutely dropped by the entire team of CLG EU. Now only 3 members remaining on the side for CLG NA. One Nexus turret goes down. The second one melting almost instantaneously. Chalice are getting caught in those roots. The Lux Laser's up again. Double takes a huge chunk of damage from the skills being thrown out there. Maokai ultimate across the Nexus. CLG EU going to take the game against NA, advance 2-0 in their group, and NA is going to have to play Team Fear for the second time this tournament.
Beautiful play coming out of CLG Europe. There was nothing they did that game that wasn't impressive. Sometimes they would use their ultimates to try and go for baits. Other times it was all about that snipe. How many times did they win those engagements before the engagement even started?
That was just, basically it was a CLG EU story. We saw them at that level 1 fight go 3 kills for none. Now going across to their CLG brethren, going to congratulate them in the manner of sportsmanship that everybody has shown at IPL 5 thus far. Really awesome stuff to see. But regardless of that, we can't help but notice that since that level 1 fight, it was all about CLG EU, and it was about NA trying to gain advantages and trying to get back into the game. When it looked like they were going to, unfortunately, they were fighting an uphill battle the entire game, and sometimes the hill is just a little bit too steep to climb.
They were fighting tooth and claw. I mean, 3-0 such a big disadvantage to come into the game with. And I mean, they played well, they tried so much, but when it came down to it, the early lead just snowballed out of control. Those 2 holds, they held for a long time. Most teams would have fallen under that pressure, under those damaging ultimates, but I mean, it wasn't just Double Lift, but Double Lift got his auto attacks off. The backup and shields coming out from the rest of CLG North America really helped them out in the end. It was so close. They could have held it maybe if you didn't have Baron, just maybe if it was a little bit worse for them, if they had a little bit less gold. But you know what? They had the advantage, they played it well, and they won the game very, very soundly.
They were baiting out ultimates from EU, making them waste that Zyra ultimate in the fight in top lane was very, very crucial because they didn't have that disengage, they didn't have the knock-up to try to break up what NA was doing. In that bottom lane, they wound up wasting the Lux ultimate and the equalizer before the fight even started. By baiting these things out, there were 2 or 3 team fights where they just held on and were trying to come back into the game and did it very, very successfully. Unfortunately, the last engagement with that Baron buff might have pushed them over the wall, but also the ultimate coming out from Big Fat LP, but then being melted down. There was no extra DPS coming out from Oriana. There was no Loco Doku in there to try to save anybody who was being targeted down by CLG EU because he got melted as well from the laser. And unfortunately, they just weren't able to hold that 4th and final time.
And do you know how hard it is for a team to lose all 3 lanes, which did happen to CLG, and still really hold in the game, still not just die? It is not common. Usually you see 3 lanes lose like that, it's over by the 20-minute mark. They made it to the 32-minute mark. They held for as long as they could. It was impressive. And you know what? They're still in groups. They're not dead yet. They're not in the water.
And it's a CLG game, so it at least has to go for a half hour, regardless of the fact of what's going to happen. But as you mentioned before, they are not down and out yet. CLG EU, they are going to advance from the group 2-0, so they're already seeded into the winner's bracket. Meanwhile, CLG NA, they're going to have to go up against Team Fear, who they did beat in the beginning of the group stage already. It was actually kind of handily as well. I think it was a 13-3 victory, so we're going to have to see if Fear is going to step their game up, or if NA is going to get that reprisal and go into the winner's bracket with their CLG.